I just want to thank everyone for joining us for the afternoon session. I know I've never done this at church, where after church you have another thing, but I know that many people also want to hear from Esther, from her own journey. Many of you have read the blog and been ministered to deeply by it, even through her own words. I think for many of us, we've understood suffering and pain in a whole new light. I think in a lot of ways, we've been able to walk with them in this journey. And so with that, that's what this time is for. And so thanks for everyone who remained to hear from Esther. I'm just going to ask Esther just to introduce herself from the get-go.
Okay. Hi guys, my name is Esther. I'm really thankful to be here today and to just share our journey with you in hopes that you might be encouraged. I think that is one of the biggest purposes we have in our lives right now, is to show how God is faithful and how He is so good to us, even in the midst of a lot of pain. And so I'm really thankful that you guys, that I'm here to be with you today. I knew Sharon since I think high school, and we went to college together. We were roommates for 2 years. We share a lot of each other's treasures and secrets, and just she's a dear sister to me, so I'm really thankful that I could be with you guys today. Also, to let you know that this back issue is actually my fault. And the reason is because I had knee pain, and Joel took me to the orthopedic doctor to get get some work done. And so I was supposed to get a steroid shot, but for whatever circumstances I couldn't get it at the moment, and his back hurt. So I was like, why don't you get the shot? And then if it works for you, then I'll get the shot. And so I'm not going to get the shot. Clearly it didn't work. I'm really sorry. So, just really thankful to be here today. Not much to say about myself, except that I'm Ava's mom, Gwen and Jude's mom. So blessed to be their mom, and I'm so blessed to be here today with you guys.
It was totally my decision. So with that, it's not Esther's fault, but that's her heart, I think, to take blame. I know most of us are familiar with the story of Ava, her life, but I also think there are others who are more recent, new to the story. And so can you just walk us through the past, 4 years, is it, of when you first found out about her cancer and the journey since until this past year?
So actually the story kind of starts way before her cancer diagnosis. Ava was our first child. She was born in 2008, and just from the get-go she had a lot of medical issues with allergies. So she had a lot of life-threatening food allergies, which translated into asthma and really bad, severe eczema and things like that. And so between that, her birth and her cancer diagnosis, she actually had probably over 15 episodes of anaphylaxis. And if you know what anaphylaxis means, it means, pretty much your throat closes up and you can't breathe anymore. And so, you pass that way. And it was triggered by different foods. So she was allergic to milk, eggs, nuts, soy, wheat, seafood, shellfish, all of the things. It kind of went down this list. And so she was constantly having these reactions, and in the ER and the hospital. And finally, around the age of 5 in 2014, those symptoms started to go away. So Mike and I thought, she must be getting better. And 6 months after her symptoms went away with her food allergies, or they died down a little bit, we found out that she was diagnosed with cancer. And the way that happened was she was having a lot of fevers and kind of joint pain and things like that. And so the doctor said things like, oh, it's just growing pains, or oh, it's just maybe a skin infection. If you guys have heard of MRSA, it's when you have a really severe staph infection in your skin from your eczema. So that's kind of what we thought it was. But when we got her blood drawn to kind of see what was going on, they saw that her white count was almost 100,000, and that pretty much means that your white blood cells are pushing out like all the other things you need, like platelets, and red cells and the things that kind of keep you alive. So that's kind of how we found that she had a rare type of leukemia called biphenotypic, and that's when you have AML, which is a pretty rare leukemia to begin with, and then T-cell ALL, which is a very aggressive leukemia. And so this type of leukemia only hits about 3% of the leukemic population of both adults and children. So it was a very rare type that didn't have a lot of a good prognosis from the get-go.
Can you share about what it was like to parent through all of that in those days?
Yeah, I mean, it was really hard. It was a lot of kind of finding new normals throughout your life. You see children advancing in different stages, and to see that Ava kind of couldn't follow that regular trajectory was difficult, especially as a first child. As a parent to, for the first time, everything's already enhanced. Your all your fears are enhanced, all your senses are enhanced, and being a hypochondriac, you're already like irrationally scared of everything. I remember we lived on a 3-flat and in Chicago, and so in the back way to get up is kind of like a fire escape, but not really, like way better than a fire escape, but like wrought iron, you know what I mean? Like, and you go up these steps and these platforms, and there's no way she's gonna fall off. But I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, like when I'm holding her, what if she bucks back and then she like falls over, just like irrational things like that. And so already you have those things floating around, but then to have a child that really is sick, it required a lot of just going before God and receiving the support that you needed through Him, And so Mike used to tell me, like, when I was going through this with the food allergies, he would say, maybe this is God's goodness, actually, that it's only food allergies, and it could be worse, but it's not, and even though this looks really bad, maybe this is His hand keeping us from what we couldn't handle, and lo and behold, like, 5 years later, we saw how bad it could be, how bad it could get. So I think the first 5 years was God really shepherding us and keeping us enclosed almost, and safe from the trials that were about to come, preparing us for what we would have to face shortly after.
I wish you had a chance to get to know Ava, because she was very special, especially in her faith. They were over 2 years ago or 4 years ago, and Ava and our daughter Kara, they were playing together, and Ava was singing this song, basically saying, my God is bigger than my dad, my God is bigger than my dad. And then Kara comes into the room and she's like, my dad is bigger than God, my dad is bigger than God. And then Ava gives her this look like, that's not. And then she goes to tell Mom, like, Mom, this is what Kara said. It's like, and we hear like, Kara, no. And even from a real early age, I don't think it was simply a song that she learned, but it was faith being sung from her heart. And so with that, can you share a little bit about Ava, the child, the person?
Yeah. Ava started to speak very early. Around 18 months, she was already speaking in full sentences, and the things that she would say were kind of mind-boggling. People are always like, how did you raise such a wonderful child? I know this is like on record, but I would be like, clearly it's not me, because did you see my other 2 children? But like, I feel like from the beginning, she really was touched by God in a way that we couldn't teach her, And so, for example, every night before bed, I would pray over Ava and at the time Gwen too. Jude wasn't there yet. I would pray that one day, that they would choose Christ, and I prayed that every night. And I remember one time she was around 3. She goes, Mom, after I was done, she says, you don't have to pray that choosing Christ thing anymore because I've already chosen it.
Wow.
So, just things like that where she would understand her own relationship with God without me having to really kind of like try to feed it into her or anything like that. Kind of came from a part in her soul that was already communing with God. So.
There are some questions that some people submitted that I want to ask. One of them is relating to the text that I just read. 2 Corinthians 4, Paul writes to the Corinthian church. So we do not lose heart. Though our outer self is wasting away, our inner self is being renewed day by day. For this light, momentary affliction is preparing us an eternal weight of glory. And the question is, they say the greatest distance is from the mind to the heart. Reading your blogs, I have so much respect for the way you try to reconcile your heart and your faith. Can you share a little bit about this struggle and how you are able to overcome it? With that, just to be able to share that as real as possible. Because I know, knowing you and knowing the blog, it is a very real struggle. And so, how does everything that has happened with Ava, how has that impacted your faith?
So I grew up in a very devoutly Christian home, and I grew up in the faith. And so every truth from the Word, I would say, I already knew it, cemented in my heart, which is why I was praying that prayer over the children, that they would choose Christ. It wouldn't just be the mom's religion or dad's religion, but it would truly be something that they come to, that they themselves come to know Christ in a personal level. So I think a lot of that came from the fact that I grew up in this Christian home, and I don't know when, but I had to wrestle with that choice. Do I really believe God for myself, or do I believe God because I was raised in a Christian home and I don't know any better? I don't know anything else. And so I think all of the truths of God and all the truths of His Word were in my head for sure, and I thought also in my heart. But I think when push comes to shove, and when you are entering the fire, you realize that, and you're coming up like straight up against this struggle, like a really hard struggle. You realize you have a choice. The choice is, do you really believe who God is and who He says He is, or is this just all a bunch of crackery? Like, is this just something that sounds good, but it doesn't ever translate into like a relevant part of life, And so I think that this suffering, in a lot of ways, I count it. This is hard for me to say. It's really, it doesn't come easy. This is not trite. It's not like something that I'm just kind of like a platitude. I'm just saying it, But truly, like, the suffering is a blessing. And the reason why is because, growing up in a Christian home, married to a pastor, you would think that all these truths would be cemented in my heart. But when I went through that fire, I realized, oh my goodness, like, this is when it really counts. Do I really believe this? Do I really believe God is good? Everything around me is falling to crap. My child is dying. My other children don't have me at home anymore. My husband and I can't even have a normal conversation about anything other than, than our dying child, and our finances, everything just was like tumbling down. And so that's when you ask that question, and you really have to face that question and wrestle out what you believe. And so with this situation and all that unfolded with Ava, I believe that head knowledge translated into heart knowledge. And so how does your faith change? I think this is when you can say you begin eating the meat of God's Word and no longer the milk. We've been drinking this milk, reading these words, these passages, and really letting it sink in. But without adversity, when it's not tested, then we have no way to grow, And so I believe that this trial really has grown our faith and helped us to see Jesus in a very personal way, because it is true, everything Pastor Joel said, he is walking with us and near us. And so I think as we go through this, we realize that truly he is doing that. Truly, as we walk through this fire, there is that third person right next to us, and that is Jesus. And to actually go through it, like, what I'm trying to say is, when you imagine yourself going through the fire, you would think, okay, like, Jesus will be there. But actually going through the fire and holding his hand, the experience and and your thought of what would happen is different. And so I think that we got the experience, and so our faith is a lot stronger through that.
Thank you. In that text that I read, it says, "So we do not lose heart." And I think Paul says that, knowing how real the suffering and pain is. One thing that you wrote in your blog was, "I didn't realize that the heart could break in so many ways, so many times over and over again. I thought that losing Ava would bring the most horrific mother of all cracks, and that would be all. But actually, our hearts continue to crumble far beyond that day." The question that one person asked was, how do you reconcile the anger, sadness, and disappointment you must feel ways of with your love for and faith in Christ? On a more specific level, what does it look like day to day? Especially as you wrote, even the idea that it just continues to hurt. Things seem to continue to crumble apart even after January 1. What does that look like for you on a day-to-day level today?
I think the way it looks is exactly how you would think. It's every day having such sorrow and such anger and disappointment. But the honesty that we can have before Christ, I think that is truly the salvation of that moment. Because I can say to my Father God, I hate my life. I mean, if we're going to be real, I probably say that maybe 3 times an hour. I hate my life. But then, as I'm honest before the Lord, as I know I can be, He puts in me a hope that's inexplicable, a peace that surpasses all understanding, in which He allows me to reflect on how good He is. And I know that sounds like kind of paradoxical. Like, how can you, in your deepest moment of suffering, see that God is good? But I think as we open up to God and say, I hate my life, I'm really broken, it hurts a lot, But as we give that to the Lord, He gives us something back, which is Himself, and His eyes to see that truly everything around us is good, is His goodness. The fact that I can take one step more is His goodness. The fact that I can breathe one breath more is His goodness. The fact that in my lowest moment, a friend might call me and say, hey, how are you doing? Or someone might email and say, I'm praying for you today. All of those things are God's hands and feet into my life, and so that's kind of what it looks like. It looks ugly. It looks really ugly, but the beauty comes in Jesus, not in my circumstances that are ugly, but in the fact that Jesus draws near, He's with me, and He gives us the hope that is in eternal life. That's like a lot of my thoughts during the day are, I can't wait. I hate my life. I can't wait to get to the next one, But even as that, I hate my life, I can't wait to get to the next one, goes through my head, God also shows me that in this moment, this is His goodness. This moment right now, is His goodness. The fact that I can live another second without killing myself is His goodness. The fact that, I feel like I can't do much. I can't do much to show God that I'm living for His glory, because really it's hard to just live, but I think knowing also that God is pleased in the fact that I'm just alive, that is the sacrifice of praise, the fact that we're not killing ourselves, the fact that we are moving ahead, and even if we're just laying in bed all day, the fact that we are breathing, I think that's a worship to God. That's a sacrifice of praise, to say, God, you're so good even though my life really sucks, I think I answered lots of different questions at once. I'm sorry. Someone once said, why don't you stick to writing? I'm sorry if if my words are not very organized. But.
I remember shortly after Sharon had called you, and then she had also gone to the U.S., and I just asked how the trip was when she went to Ava's funeral. Sorry. I asked her, I shared how the trip was when she went to Ava's funeral, and how is Esther, and one thing that Sharon said is, Esther's different now. There's a deeper depth to her faith. And I just remember being so intrigued to want to know more. And one other thing that she shared was is how much more you're able to value children because of losing Ava. Can you share about how losing Ava to cancer has what it has taught you about parenting and children?
I think losing Ava, and Mike and I were just talking about this, to cancer kind of really opened up the brevity of life. And I think a lot of times we live in such a way where we feel like we always have tomorrow, right? And so we can just kind of put off the things that we want to do today for tomorrow, and we don't really have a concept of the end of time. We all know we're going to die, but we don't really think we're going to die. We think, we have at least 60 years. I'm 30, maybe 50 years. I have some time. And so I think that's the way we might parent differently, is when we see our children, it's not just, I can't wait until they grow up, or I can't wait until they're more mature, or there's still, let's be honest, there's still that for sure, when she's throwing a fit, I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait till he's 3, and out of these terrible 2s. But you also realize that every moment that you're given, you kind of want to maximize, and you kind of want to thank God for, that moment. And so how do we parent differently? I think we are probably a little bit more gracious, I want to think. And also the other thing is that we understand the very best thing we can do for our kids is to instill the love of God in them at a young age, and to show them that Jesus really is the only thing that they ought to strive for in their lives, and sometimes you think, I'll just teach them that when they're older, when they're old enough to understand, but really I think we realize that time is not something that you can put in your pocket and say, I have this much. You don't know. And so you kind of be more proactive about their faith.
For your children, I think Gwen specifically, can you share how this has impacted her? If you can also share the relationship that they had before Ava had passed.
Sure. Gwen and Ava were very best friends, and I think the reason is because Gwen is actually very sharp too. She was talking at 18 months. She, very much loved her sister and followed her sister around, and so they formed a really unique bond, even though they were, almost 3 years apart. So they had a special language, and it was something like like that. I was like, what are you saying? Oh, we understand each other, don't worry, And they called each other special best friends, special sister best friends forever. It might be not exactly what they said, but special sister best friends forever, something in that order. And they just loved playing with each other. And the thing about Ava is that she was a really good sister, if you can imagine. And Gwen really looked up to her. So when Ava died, one of the first things Gwen said was, who's going to teach me now? So I think that's one of the ways that your heart breaks again and again, is that I see her struggle. And she's kind of like a happy girl. I think she and I take after each other in the sense that she's kind of like, in the moment, she can, be happy and play and get lost and distracted, but at the end of the day, like what's in her heart is her heart cracked too, her heart's broken too. And so, how has it changed her? I mean, she she's grieving. She's in the stage of grieving right now. And the thing about Gwen is she's very emotionally mature, and so she understands how to grieve, and she's been doing the hard work of grieving, whereas a lot of times children don't really know how to do that, and so it's a struggle. But for her, she's expressive. And I remember one time when I was having a really bad day, and I was just like, I need to move out of this house. I can't be here anymore. And so we asked Gwen, do you want to move? And she's like, well, we can move, but it's really still going to be the same because we'll still be sad. And I was like, okay, it's so smart, and so the other time, just recently, she was kind of expressed the sorrow again was when we were in Taiwan. We were in this big monkey play gym area, and she was running around, and she came running back, and I thought she would come back smiling because I sent her off smiling, and she came back sobbing, and she was like, I don't want to play here because I miss Unmi so much. In this big jungle gym area where I'm supposed to be happy, I am so sad, and so we paid $15 for nothing. But yeah, so I don't even remember your question anymore, but that's my answer.
Yeah, I don't remember the question.
Sorry.
We'll just do a few more questions. My guess there are many lessons that you're learning over and over and over, and we kind of alluded to lessons in faith. Are there any other lessons that you feel like you've learned? Because one thing that one sister mentioned to me while she was going through a very difficult time is to not waste the pain. To not waste the pain, but as God allows it, God has a purpose for the pain. And in that, when we allow God to speak to us and to minister to us, so many deep life lessons that He has for us can be learned. And so with that, are there specific lessons that you feel like you have learned through all of it? Maybe things that you need to tell yourself so that you can remember to not waste the pain.
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes I jot down notes about what I want to write about. I haven't written in a while, but one of the things was I want to find a purpose in this pain, and I don't want to waste it, And so I think probably the biggest life lesson that I'm learning is that, truly our lives are meant for more than this, and truly we are here for a bigger purpose than to just survive and eat and live and progress and be successful and all of these things. I think I'm realizing that, if our lives don't point to Christ in some way in our lives, we have very much missed the mark. If we have all of the success, all of the fame, all of the things we wanted in our checklist of what we wanted out of life, and yet we are not pointing to Christ, then truly we messed up somewhere along the line, And I know that's harsh, it's harsh for me too, because just because our daughter died and we went through this suffering does not elevate us to this other level of, oh, now we are above, the petty things in this world. I'm gonna go get my eyebrows tattooed tomorrow, okay, guys? It's pretty petty, I have to admit, it's not like I'm transcendent, and think, okay, could we not? Okay, what I'm trying to say is that, it's not like we are, holier now or whatever. I I think we just understand that our purpose is greater than what we have planned out our lives' purpose to be, and that purpose is to glorify God, and it doesn't have to be in like huge ways where you are this famous like pastor, or you are just so well known for your writing, or you're so you take suffering so well. It's not in the big things, it's the little things in our lives. Can we be faithful to bring God glory? That's the biggest lesson that I've learned. The biggest struggle that I have now, the biggest burden I have, is to use the things that God has given us in our lives to further His kingdom. And so if you guys could pray for us, that is something that that we have been praying about in this time of mourning, that God would give us a purpose. Ava was our purpose for 8 years, caring for her, ushering her from this life into the next. But now that that she went home, God would continue to give purpose for our lives here on earth. That it would sustain us, this purpose, until we get to go home too.
So many of us, I think, here have gotten to know Ava's story because of your writing, your blogs. You're able to write in such a way that you, one question was, you transport us into that moment. And in that moment, I think even for myself, I experienced new emotions even through the blog. Emotions that I didn't even knew resided in my heart through it. And with that, God has clearly given you a gift in writing. One person has asked, do you plan to, any thoughts in terms of writing a book to honor Ava, to even spread her story even further?
Yes, that is a question I've been asking myself too, whether I should write something. And I think right now the only reason I would consider writing something is because I wrote in a post, once we were talking, and she asked me if I would ever forget her, or ever stop remembering her. And I said, of course not. How could that be? So she had wanted me to write these children's books, because before she was diagnosed, actually, I had written 3 children's books, and it kind of comes all out of the blue because I never studied writing. I always wanted to be an English teacher, but I didn't really like the way I wrote. I didn't really like anything I produced, and so and also we went to college in the 90s, right? And so I'm sorry, but my computer crashed every other week. And so I remember writing papers and the whole thing would fly away, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And so I decided to go a different path. And so I'm not a writer. I don't know how to write, and I think that the fact that I am writing, and I wrote these books, these children's books, before Ava was diagnosed and all that, I really feel like it was a gift from the Spirit for a time, for a season. And so people are like, I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, that is not me. If I were to write just from me, it would really be bad. I wouldn't be able to convey the things I want to convey. But I really feel that the Lord gave me those words. He gave me those words to use for this season in our lives. And so, can I write a book? I mean, if the Lord allows me to, then I'll write a book, But it's not something that I can just plan in my head and do. I want to, because I want to honor Ava, and I want to tell the whole world about her, of course, and tell the whole world about Christ, through her. But that is something that the Lord has to give or not. And so you guys can pray for me that God would make it clear, if that is something that He wants me to do. But so that's the answer to that.
Last question is, my guess is there's pain here in this room, and with pain often comes questions of where is God? How can God allow this? Those kinds of questions. Any words that you'd want to share with anyone who may be suffering, maybe specifically with anyone who has cancer?
hard. And the reason why is because I think as I was going through it, I kind of didn't want to hear what someone else had to say about it because it's very deeply personal, you know. But I'll tell you what helped me. And maybe that's what you can seek out for yourselves, you know. But for me, it really helped to have a community. People they could be very honest with. People that would not just say they would pray for you, but would actually pray for you. I would stay away from platitudes. I would stay away from people that just wanted to say something just to say something. You know what I mean? I would also guard my heart against people who wanted to tell you why it was happening, because nobody knows why these things happen except the Lord. So if you have someone that wants to speak into your life, but it sounds kind of like Job's friends, you can still be gracious, you know, but you don't have to hold it in your heart. You don't have to believe the things that you're told all the time, you know. And I think that brings me to the most important point. And I don't mean, again, to make this sound very easy, because it's not, but truly laying yourself before the Lord and allowing Him to minister to you is the greatest way to find healing. He uses other people. He uses the body of Christ, for sure. There's no doubt. But healing doesn't come from someone's words or someone's actions. This deep healing comes from the Lord rebuilding your heart, you know? And so when you're going through the pain, I think one thing you can kind of, I liked how Mike used the word reward yourself. It is a reward to come before God and have that time with Him. Like, that is a reward. Like, that is like the best reward. That's the best thing that you could, you know, want, you know. And so the fact that it's free, you know, it's given to us, and it's something that God wants for us, you know, to utilize that, you know, I think is one of the best ways to find, you know, peace and healing, you know. And so yeah, I think that is what I would say. And for those, I think it also is important to speak to those that want to know how to help. I think that is probably you know, the other, you're either the one that needs help or you're the one that wants to hopefully give help. And so for those that, you know, you encounter someone that you love going through pain, you know, I think that one of the best things to do is sit with them and maybe not say a word. And if they want to hear from you, and if they want to hear what you have to say, be very grace-filled in how you deliver, you know. Maybe the way that I think of doing it is, how would you want to be ministered to, you know, when you're going through that kind of time? Probably not with someone saying, God is good all the time, you know. You know that, but right now I don't want to hear that. Like, I want to just, you to just sit here, or you to say, hey, that really sucks, you know, but I'm going to sit here with you, and I'll cry with you. And you need some coffee, I'll get that for you, you know. And another practical thing is not to say, what can I do for you? Because, you know, Joel and Sharon know now, I can't even make, they're like, what do you want to eat? I don't know. Like, I've made decisions for so long, I have like no brain cells left. I don't really know what I need or what I want. So maybe just doing it, you know, like, instead of saying, oh, can I do this? Or what can I do for you? Maybe just say, hey, can I, you know, pick up your daughter from school for you? Can I take your laundry and do it for you and bring it back? Can I, you know, just very practical things I think they would appreciate so much, you know. And kind of circling back to as you go through the pain, I think one of the best ways to really find peace in the pain is to understand that the things that we go through are not without a reason, you know, and there is purpose in our suffering. Maybe the purpose is just, and I don't want to say just because it's actually the biggest thing, but to bring us into a deeper relationship with Christ. Because how will you know God? And how will you know that He is good? And how will you know that He is there? And how will you know any of his promises unless you are in a place where you need them? You know? So hold on, Sabrina, hold on, you know, to the brothers and sisters in here that are suffering in your own way. Hold on, you know, hold on to Christ. Hold on to the hope. Hold on to each other, you know, be the community that God wants you to be. And I think that's the other thing, like, we're not just, as the person that's not going through it, you're not just a passerby, you're not insignificant. Maybe that is the significant purpose that God is putting in your lives, you know. I couldn't be here today if it weren't for 3 sisters in Seattle who randomly came into my life and decided that they're gonna pour into me so that I can see God's goodness. You know, without them, and they might have thought, oh, this is insignificant. I'm just getting her 10 banh mi sandwiches. A girl actually brought me 10 banh mi sandwiches, and I was like, I can't eat all that. But you know, she thought to herself, this is just such an insignificant thing I'm doing. But she actually is one of my very best friends now. And if it weren't for the lifeline she threw me through these banh mi sandwiches, which allowed us to get close, I wouldn't be able to sit here and very strongly tell you that I have seen the goodness of God during this time. So you are the goodness of God. You know, people say, how is God good? You are how God can be good to somebody. You know, so I think that is a huge takeaway, to know that you're not just insignificantly watching this happen and unfold, but you can be the hands and feet of Christ.
Thank you, Esther. And thank you, Esther, for being so willing to share with the group of strangers your story.